All right. Hello, Insepi. Welcome back. Great to see you. Let's go ahead and get started. So what we're doing here is Thrive Hive Live is 21 weeks to building your business. So you started a business because you're great at a craft, but building a business has a lot of different nuts and bolts to it. And so we're digging in for 21 weeks straight to help you understand what those nuts and bolts are and to get the support you need to grow with confidence. So in week one, we talked about why are you building a business and what are your boundaries so that the business supports you and doesn't become something that you resent. Week two, we talked about defining your offer. So what is that first offer, that thing that you want to sell somebody? But then also making note that it's your first version. It's probably going to change as you go through this life of building your business. And then we talked about practicing your pitch, which isn't a sales pitch. It's an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch meant to open doors and to facilitate conversations so people can get to know more about what you're about, whether they're a potential client. They might possibly not be, but they have friends and they have business experience themselves that can help you. So it's really just meant to open those conversations and those doors. And today we're talking about building your network, and it's really building a network for support. And so that's where we're going to dig in. I did throw a couple of resources in the first comment. So you have more information on this Thrive Hive Live series, as well as access to the course workbook that I'm going to pull up in a minute, and also to our Thrive Hive landing page, which includes a free offer to 45 days to join the community. So I hope you'll give us a little bit more of a view, assuming that what you're seeing today is resonating with you. And I see more familiar faces back. David and Sheryl, welcome back. It's exciting to see this community actually coming together through comments of all things, which we're talking about networking. It's been an interesting experience for me to be, networking can actually be in this live setting as well, where I can't actually interact with you one-on-one other than seeing comments, yet community is still building. You're supporting each other, and I absolutely love it. Along that line, I do encourage everybody to share freely in the comments. Like, go ahead and drop who you are, where you're from, what you're building now. And I encourage you to connect with each other and respond to each other and really lean in support. And I have some prompts along here where I'm going to be asking some questions. I'd love to see, where are you finding your community these days? And so the comments are really the place to make the magic happen. Hey, Stuart. So happy to have you here. So share with each other. Also connect with each other. It's all about building our networks and building our community. So if you're in the LinkedIn comments, and you're not already connected to somebody, take a look at their profile, send them a little connect, say, hey, I'd love to build with you, and let's build this community. And again, the first comment has all of the resources. So with that, I shall launch our book and we'll get started. All right. So this build your support network early. I really want to focus that we're talking about a group of solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are also building their businesses or have built their businesses, and how we can lean into each other for support. And I know the mistake I made, and I've seen others do this as well, where the first, 8, 9, 12 weeks I was building my business. It was literally heads down, building the website, building the offers, building all of those things. And then the first networking meeting I went to, I had the perfect sales pitch and I pitched it out there at during the round robin, and crickets. And that's the way it stood. And what I slowly, I would say quickly, but slowly came to learn is that the networking events isn't about making a sale. The likelihood that the unicorn who needs what I am offering right there, right now is pretty slim. But there's a whole nother opportunity with our networks, and that's to find referral partners, collaboration partners, people who have gone before us and can help us learn better ways of doing things, and really opening up the door for that support. So this is really important to me. And I just want to make sure that as folks are new to networking, new to their business, that you start to look at it a different way. And the best news about that is it turns your networking event where you're all excited and you're ready to do your sales pitch and it's all stressful. When you're just showing up to have conversations, meet people, learn about their businesses, it takes so much stress off. So that's the good news. So that's what we're about. I will tell you, like, I met somebody early on in networking and did a one-on-one meeting with her, and she's like, "Yeah, it took me like 5 months before I landed my first client, but I'm doing good now at a year." And that was really useful information for me, and that in and of itself was worth the connection. But later, she became a client too, when her business picked up even more. And so you just never really know how these things are going to play out. But the more people you have in your network, the more support you get, the bigger your audience is, the more people hear what you have to offer, the faster you are going to get to revenue. So that's a little bit about my story. All right, so let's go on to, what does it really mean to go to a networking event? And really, I'm looking to connect with people, and as I connect with them, I want to understand how we can support each other. And so much of what I'm showing today comes from the CIBN Connect, which is a networking group I belong to. I'll talk more about. This particular page, I morphed a little bit. But the idea is that everybody we meet in networking is a potential client, yes, probably less likely, don't get your hopes up too high, or a referral partner or a collaborator. Or sometimes there is a graceful release. It's like, okay, I really don't see a huge fit here, but I'm glad for the connection because I don't know what's going to happen down the road. And so when you're going into these events, we're really looking for, who can maybe fit into these buckets. And not only that, we're probably not going to get really clear here, but one of the things we hear over and over is within CIBN, and I see a few CIBN folks here in the chat, book a meeting from a meeting. So the networking is really a chance to see who's in the room, what do they do, what do we have in common, and is this somebody that can help my business grow, or even just help me grow? And we're not likely to know that from the networking event itself, but we're going to get that when we follow up with them one-on-one. And as we follow up, we're going to start to identify these opportunities. Now, it's really like a whole quarter-long course on what to do from there, and there's lots of great information out there. But for now, I just want you thinking about, as you go into these networking events, whether it be online or in person, instead of like shutting down because the person doesn't feel like a fast sale, start looking for these doors opening and the potential that it can help you down the road. So with that, all right, so I want you to think about these 4 buckets. So again, we have referral partners, collaborators, potential clients. There's going to be people we run across that just really don't cleanly fit into a bucket, and maybe we're not going to invest a lot of time. But I want you to think about, just for a moment, who's in your network now, and what bucket do they fall into? So I'm going to pause on that for a second. I see a couple people in the chat, so I'll tell you where they're at in my buckets. And actually, there's a 5th bucket I didn't put on there, but sometimes who you run into may be somebody who has something that's going to help you. And so while you're trying to go to networking to get more business, sometimes you're getting more support in forms of tools or service offerings that other people have. Or sometimes maybe that you've been wanting some web help and you go to a networking event and they're there. And that's a way to get to know, like, and trust somebody face to face so that you can get the support you need for your business. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. And I will say that I see a few folks in the chat here, and I think almost everybody I see there falls in a little bit of all of the buckets. Sheryl was an early add-on to the Thrive Hive world as a sponsored member because she loves supporting the solopreneur and getting launched. I think she can say in the comments whether she agrees. There's always stuff to learn no matter how long we've been in business. And Patrick also, he's my biggest champion within these comments and helps keep the conversation great. So thank you again, Patrick. But with him, he's a little bit of all of the above for me. We've talked about collaboration opportunities. We're definitely referring to each other. And yes, I bought his product because it's helping me greatly. And so I would have missed so much if I, 1, didn't start to network, or 2, shut it down because it wasn't an instant sale for me. So much. I mean, everybody I've seen in the comments, David, Patrick, Sheryl, Joe, everybody, Steve, Stuart. Oh, I know Stuart. If I wasn't open to hearing how we can support each other beyond, will you buy my thing? I would be missing out on so much. And that's really the power of networking to build community. And that's what I really wanted to focus on today. So with that, let's see. So finding your communities. This is a good one. Like, where do you go? Where do you build your community? And so I'll talk about a couple that I found along the way. And I want to hear from you too. Where are you finding your community? And for me, as I started building the business, the first place I went, I think, was Eventbrite to look for networking events. I think meetups as well, but there wasn't as many business professional ones. But it was through Eventbrite, pretty sure, that I first landed in the CIBN Connect. And so it's a small family-run networking group out of Canada. And it turned out to be a really great place for me to figure out how to network, especially network online. And one of the things I'll tell you about my first CIBN Connect meeting, I was so silly. I thought that I was going to a training and I had my camera off and I was going to make my breakfast while I was listening. And then the session started. It was like, okay, we're going around the room and everybody give us your pitch. So talking about pitches last week, good thing, well, I didn't actually have one, but I was able to kind of throw something together and did okay. But it really opened my eyes. It's like, oh, I can actually go and interact and meet people and learn about people, and they can learn about me. This is a really good thing. Another place that I've gone for building community is Alignable. And what I like about Alignable is they offer, I call them like speed dating, these smart connects, where over the course of an hour, you're going to connect with about 6 different people for 5 to 7 minutes, which is just long enough to figure out, what is this somebody I need to book a meeting for the meeting for, so that I can start to see what buckets they may fit in for me and how we can help each other and support each other. And really, when it comes to networking, it's all about developing the know, like, trust factor, because we want to do business with people we know, like, and trust. And it's through networking and actually having conversations and learning about each other that know, like, and trust develops. So my question to you at this point for the chat is, where have you found community, either in real life or online, to kind of help you get the support that has made building your business more meaningful and easier for you? So I will try to do my stay quiet for a couple seconds while you all think about that. I'd love to hear where else you are connecting out there. All right, and as you're finishing up those thoughts, some other ones that we talked a little bit last week briefly, and just from other experiences, there's your local chambers of commerce, which is a great way to connect locally and in person. In person is definitely superior to online, but online's pretty great too. We heard our church community, our neighborhood associations. That's a great one, especially for local. And so really, there's a lot of different places we can go. Canadian Women Chamber of Commerce. I know Stephen Lieber specifically works with Canadian women to help them find grants and funding for what they're trying to do. So, and that brings up a really great point too. So thank you, Stephen, for bringing that point up. We do want to eventually get clients through our networks, and going where they are is a big part of it. So in Stephen's case here, going to the Canadian Women Chamber of Commerce, since his business is focused on supporting women, makes great sense. And so if you can think about where to find networks that the people who would most be interested in your thing are, you're going to get a little bit further progress there. And actually, Sheryl just mentioned the Alignable Smart Connects. I believe that's how her and I met. So that was a great opportunity. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because too often I see people who go to networking events and they're kind of quiet and don't really connect, but most importantly, they don't do any follow up. And they're the ones who end up leaving the network. They're the ones who's like, I've tried networking and it doesn't work for me. And it's not that networking doesn't work for them, it's that they didn't know how to work it to really build the community that will make it more effective. So just throwing that out there. All right. Ooh. Okay, so moving on, I'm kind of curious on one community that you're curious to check out. So is there something that maybe you've heard about that you haven't quite dabbled into yet? Professional associations, good one, Stuart from SHRM himself. I love that. So I want you to think about, and really what I'm looking for here is, what are you willing to do in the next week that kind of steps you outside of your comfort zone and maybe expands your network so that you can get more support? So is there a network you've been considering checking out? And are you willing to give it a try? And then thinking along those lines, like how many networking meetings can you attend in a week, in a month? And it's really a fine balance on, being able to grow your connections, grow your audience, and grow your support without so much time that it becomes the full-time job. So for me, that typically looks like about 2 networking events a week, and then probably 4 to 6 half-hour follow-ups afterwards, because that is when the magic happens, when I have the one-on-one connect and learn more about what they're doing and give them more about what I'm doing, and we share advice and we share stories and we find opportunities to connect on referrals or collaboration. That's when the magic happens. And so that comes from the one-on-one meetings. And also, a good time to point out too that Thrive Hive is a community. So it's a community of solopreneurs where solopreneurs are helping solopreneurs. And we have currently 3 meetings a month that we get together. In fact, this Friday, we're having our monthly buzz session, which is an educational session where Joshua George, who is the general manager of CIBN Connect, is coming in to talk to us about how to make networking more effective. So a little deeper than what we're going in today. It was kind of a coincidence that both of these sessions happened in the same week, but I'm all for it. It's networking week here at Thrive Hive. And so if that is something that you are interested in, love to give you 45 days free, which would give you an opportunity to meet the community and go to a few meetings, see our live courses and all of that. So throwing that out there as well. And let me find my little cheat sheet again here. There we go. All right. So I kind of gave it away a little bit here. But this idea of book a meeting from the meeting, because that's where we're going to really build the relationship. When we're in the networking event itself, we're kind of getting first impressions. But first impressions aren't always really the right impression or the deep impression or the impression that's going to make a difference. And so having these one-on-one conversations, that's where we can get to know them. And we really want to build that relationship because, again, know, like, and trust is where it's at. And so we want to connect with people, send them a LinkedIn connect. If it's alignable, connect with them there or both places. We want to have a few exchanges online, hopefully get to a one-on-one meeting, which if you are approaching networking in the same way, getting to that one-on-one meeting is usually pretty fast. Like, I'm here to meet people and I want depth, not breadth. Like, let's get on a call. And so that's usually a pretty easy ask to put out there and to have the meeting that's going to be meaningful. And then through that, we can start to talk about, it's like, oh, what are some referrals or what are some collaborations or how can I support you in any way? And then we really open up the doors to having that support, having that connection, and turning networking into what's a grind and might feel pointless into something that's actually quite powerful, purposeful, and makes our lives all the better. All right, so moving on. I want to talk about online networking because it is networking. It's a little bit different, but it doesn't have to be as different as we think it is. it takes a different, I'll say, muscle in order to effectively use online networking, has networking. And so just really briefly, we'll talk about what does it mean to network online. And really, it's about the engagement. Too often we hear about, scrolling, like we're scrolling the feed, but are we engaging? Are we liking? Are we commenting? Are we getting to know people? And when you actually jump in and start to get to know the other person, and generally it'll start with like a couple of comments back and forth, maybe a DM. From a DM, maybe there's some opportunity to support each other. At some point, it'll be like, hey, this is a great conversation. Do you want to have a one-on-one? And so you don't have to meet, everybody in a room. Sometimes it's online, but you do have to take a few extra steps to get there. And you can't just drop your offer and go. I'm laughing. I'm gonna guess that if I say who this week has received a cold DM on buy my thing, yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about developing relationships, and not everybody will become a deep relationship. But even if it's 1 out of 5, 1 out of 7, it's still worth the time investment to get to know people. So when it comes to your social media, whether it be LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you're living for, to find your audience, just dropping comments and meaningful comments, not just thank you, but here's what I thought, or here's how I agree or disagree. Would love to carry on the conversation, moving on to the DMs. Like, I really love this exchange, would like to, have more thoughts around it, to a one-on-one conversation and actually build true relationships from that. And that's something that has really surprised me to be effective. Like, I would have never thought that would be effective. And I just had to first get into the practice of commenting. In fact, Patrick, so that is how we met. We were both in one of the business groups online, and I commented on something and he commented back, and we went to DMs. We had a one-on-one, and now we have somewhat of a I don't know if it's, I would say a partnership. I don't know if he'd agree, but there's definitely a special relationship in my business network with Patrick. And it all started with a comment on a post that he did. So don't think that you have to go into a room, whether it's physical or virtual, in order to network. You can do it online, but it just takes that engagement. More than just the heart or the thank you, but to actually start having those conversations. And when you do, your network grows and life just gets so much easier. One more hint on the idea of using social media to build your network. One fast track or one trick that you can use is if you comment on a super influencer's post, you'll get a lot of traction. Because there's a lot of people looking at that post, people will see what you're posting. They'll respond to you. And that's kind of a quicker way to get to really meeting more people online and having meaningful conversations, turning the feed scrolling into something that actually, builds knowledge, builds support, and everything else. Taking that time is really worthwhile. So that's one shortcut I have for you, is if you have the person with the 10,000 followers and they're already at 100, 200 comments, pop in there and see who's commenting. And through those comments, you might find somebody that you really want to meet, that you want to get to know better. And so that's an opportunity to expand your network as well. All right. So moving on, I want to tell you a story about kind of my networking start as I launched Beyond Aligned Books. And I spent a couple months, I'm very focused on, cost benefit analysis, return on investment. I know I need to spend money to make money, but I want to make sure it's the right money. And so I went through a couple months where I was really looking at, okay, I'm going to invest money, and it's going to be either in the local Chamber of Commerce, which was New York City at the time, or it's going to be Alignable, or it's going to be CIBN, because I was involved in that connection. And I, was going to events. I was kind of tracking how many connections I was getting, which, by the way, if I knew then what I knew now, probably would have gotten farther at all three, but it is what it is. But there was one thing that stuck out. And so what happened is I got a call from Joshua George, the general manager of CIBN Connect. He says, hey, in the Thursday session we have coming up this week, we're talking about profit and loss statements. And I want to make sure you knew so that you could come in and share your knowledge with the group. And that made all the difference to me. It was like, okay, when I'm talking about where I'm going to invest my hard-earned money in order to grow my network and grow my business, I wanted it to be with the group that really supported where I wanted to go in a meaningful way. Now, I'm not saying this. I'm not telling you to go invest in CIBN Network today. The story is meant to be find out where you feel the most supported, where you're getting the most contact with those who can really help you, not even just grow your business, but grow yourself and find that footing of support and understanding. And that is where I would tend to invest. And I looked at like Alignable has a bigger audience, but the size of the audience wouldn't matter if I didn't have anybody supporting me in really learning who they were. And so I wanted to call that out because, understanding not just who is in the network, but who's kind of driving the network and the opportunities they're providing for community and supporting their members is a great thing to think of as you're looking for where to invest, not just dollars, but your time as well. So I wanted to put that out there as a thought in case that helped you think about your future networking and where you might want to invest. Now, all of these, shouldn't say all, but for the most part, you can go to any CIBN meeting free. They don't charge you. You can go to Alignable Smart Connects free. They don't charge you. They both want you to join their memberships. Your local chambers, there might be a small cost if you're not a member. So there are opportunities to network without investing. But when you invest, I know for me and others, feel free to comment if you feel differently. When I put my money into it, then I put my heart into it and I work it more and it works better for me. So that's just another side in thinking about investing our time and our money in something and really wanting to get something back out of it. So with that, I think the message I want to leave you with is that networking can really work for you when you approach it in the terms of building community, finding connection, supporting others, and getting support. If you go into networking event thinking you're going to pitch your thing and people are going to buy, you're probably going to be disappointed. But life is so much easier when we are part of a community and we feel connected and supported, and it's totally worth it. And it opens up the doors so those potential clients will find you faster, whether it be through referrals, through reputation, or whatever. So that is my spiel on networking. I did put links in the course workbook for both CIBN Connect and Alignable. So feel free to check out both of those. And Google your local chambers or talk to your local business owners and see, where is it at? What are the opportunities? Because when we connect through our network, then we are able to grow sustainable businesses and really enjoy the life of building instead of what I did my first 3 months, which is heads down, all me, all by myself with a little chat GPT. That wasn't a lot of fun. So I know building my network has been hugely beneficial to me, not just in business, but just my soul, my psyche, and making this life of solopreneurship a lot less lonely. And thank you all for being with Thrive Hive Live today and being part of my network. Next week, we're getting a little bit more tactical. So these steps, these original steps were really kind of digging deep into, understanding what is it we want to do and how do we pull that forward into a business. Next week, we're taking it back a step to tactics and talking about our business identity. So what is our business name? What, are we stuck with one? How do we use that name when it comes to things like our domain or our messaging and assets? And so I look forward to next week to having a conversation about business names and all the opportunities that come with that, and hearing some of your business names out there or ideas for even, future doing business as. I think it could be a lot of fun. So with that, I will pause for just a second while I keep my eyes on the comments for anything I need to respond to. But thank you all again for the thorough comments. I love coming out of these and seeing everybody's messages and how you're communicating with each other. So this doesn't feel like a networking event because it's just me chatting at you, but you made it a networking event because you're speaking to each other within the comments. And I think that is a wonderful thing. So with that, I will say, I think we're done with week 4. Week 5, we'll be talking about business names, and I look forward to seeing you then.